Imagine the most dangerous hunter in the galaxy. A 7-foot-tall alien warrior with infrared vision, cloaking technology, plasma weapons, and centuries of combat experience. Now imagine that something finds him. Something that doesn't just wear its host like armor, it becomes its host. It reads its DNA. It copies its abilities. It amplifies everything by a factor that shouldn't be possible. And then, it gets hungry. What happens when the Venom symbiote bonds with a Yautja predator? I'll tell you exactly what happens. The most unfair creature in the history of any universe is born. And by the time you understand why, you'll realize that nothing, not the Xenomorphs, not the Predator clans, not even an entire planet's military, has a real chance. Let's break this down. First, you need to understand why the Predator isn't just another host. See, in nature, parasites are picky. The Ophiocordyceps fungus, the one that turns ants into zombies, doesn't infect just any insect. It targets specific species whose biology it can exploit with maximum efficiency. Toxoplasma gondii, the parasite that lives in cats, rewires the brains of rats to make them run toward cats instead of away. These organisms don't randomly attach to anything. They seek the host that gives them the biggest advantage. And if you think of the Venom symbiote as the apex version of this strategy, an alien organism that bonds with living creatures to enhance itself while feeding on their biochemistry, then the question isn't whether it would choose a Yautja. The question is why it would ever choose anything else. Think about it. A human host gives the symbiote enhanced strength, maybe the ability to lift a few tons, some regeneration, and a bunch of emotional volatility to feed on. Fine. Decent host. But a Yautja? That's an entirely different tier of biology. Predators stand over 7 feet tall, weigh over 300 pounds of raw, dense muscle tissue that's significantly tougher than human muscle fiber. Their bodies run on a copper-based blood system, that green, phosphorescent blood, which likely uses a completely different oxygen transport mechanism than our iron-based hemoglobin. They can take multiple gunshot wounds and keep fighting. They can lose a limb and cauterize it in the field and keep hunting. They have redundant organ systems, a skeletal structure reinforced with natural ridges of bone and cartilage, and a regenerative ability that borders on what you'd expect from a science fiction super soldier. Their pain tolerance is so extreme that injuries that would put a human into immediate shock barely slow them down. And here's the detail that changes everything. Yautja can live for centuries. Some elders reportedly survive for over 1,000 years. For a symbiote that gains strength the longer it's bonded to a host, that's not just an advantage, that's an infinite runway. So picture the moment of contact. Maybe it happens on a battlefield. Maybe the symbiote drifts through space inside a destroyed ship and lands on a planet where a Yautja hunting party is operating. The black liquid mass finds the strongest heat signature. Because predators run hot, their bodies radiating the kind of thermal energy the symbiote can sense from a distance, and it latches on. The first few seconds are a war. Yautja are disciplined. They have immense willpower shaped by a culture built entirely around self-control, honor codes, and ritualistic combat. The symbiote hits a wall of resistance it's probably never encountered before. But here's the thing about symbiotes. They don't need to overpower the mind. They just need to find the crack. And every Yautja has one. Aggression. The raw, predatory drive that defines their entire civilization. That's the doorway. The symbiote doesn't suppress the Yautja's personality. It amplifies the one trait that already dominates it. The hunger to hunt, the need to kill. And once that feedback loop starts, it's over. The bond locks in. Now, let's talk about what this creature becomes, because this is where it gets truly terrifying. The first thing the symbiote does with any host is a full biological audit. It reads the genetic code, maps every system, and starts optimizing. With Spider-Man, it copied wall crawling and web generation. With Eddie Brock, it enhanced raw strength and created that iconic jaw full of fangs. But with a Yautja, the symbiote suddenly has access to a biological toolkit that's leagues beyond anything it's encountered on Earth. Start with the camouflage. predators use a technology-based cloaking system, light-bending adaptive camouflage built into their armor. It's effective, but it has known failure points. Water disrupts it, electromagnetic pulses can short it out, physical damage to the wrist gauntlet can disable it entirely. Now, the symbiote already has its own version of camouflage. Clintar can alter their color, texture, and opacity to blend with surroundings. It's essentially organic chromatophore technology, similar to what cephalopods like cuttlefish and octopi use in our own oceans. Cuttlefish can match the color, pattern, and even texture of their environment in under a second using specialized skin cells. The symbiote does the same thing, but better. So when it bonds with the predator, it doesn't just copy the tech-based cloak, it replaces it with a biological version that has no off switch. No wrist gauntlet to damage, no circuit to short out. Water doesn't affect it. EMPs don't touch it. This thing can go invisible and stay invisible for as long as it wants. And unlike the tech version, which Xenomorphs can somehow detect, the organic cloak has no energy signature to pick up. Now, layer on the physical upgrades, the symbiote enhances its host's strength by a massive factor. Venom on a human host can lift around 50 tons. On a Yautja, whose baseline strength already lets them shatter concrete and rip humans apart like paper, the multiplier is horrifying. We're talking about a creature that could tear through reinforced steel bulkheads with its bare hands. But it's not just about brute force. The symbiote's biomass acts as a second skin, a living, adaptive armor that can harden on impact, absorb kinetic energy, and regenerate almost instantly. The Yautja already has tough reptilian skin, reinforced by external armor. Now imagine that armor is alive. It shifts to absorb a plasma blast. It grows spikes when something gets too close. It fills in wounds before the host even registers pain. And that brings us to regeneration. Yautja already heal remarkably fast. They carry a medicomp, a bluish compound they apply to wounds to cauterize and seal them in the field. But with the symbiote, that becomes obsolete. The symbiote's healing factor on a human host already outpaces Spider-Man's regeneration. On a Yautja, with its redundant organ systems and dense tissue, providing a superior biological foundation, the regeneration rate could border on instantaneous for anything short of catastrophic damage. Lose an arm, the symbiote grows a temporary tendril replacement in seconds, while the Yautja's own biology begins regrowing the limb underneath. Take a plasma bolt to the chest? The biomass redirects around the wound, seals it, and redistributes the Yautja's green blood before shock can set in. But here's what really breaks the equation: the weapons. Yautja technology is some of the most advanced in any fictional universe. Plasma casters, wrist blades, combo sticks, smart discs, net launchers, a self-destruct device powerful enough to level several city blocks. All of this is controlled through a wrist gauntlet integrated with a biohelmet that provides multiple vision modes, vocal mimicry, and atmospheric analysis. Now, normally, this tech is external. It can be damaged. It can be removed. A clever enough enemy, like Naru in Prey or Dutch in the original film, can separate the predator from its equipment and level the playing field. With the symbiote, there is no separation. The biomass absorbs the technology into itself. The plasma caster doesn't sit on a shoulder mount anymore. The symbiote can extend it from any point on its body, aim it independently, and retract it in a fraction of a second. The wrist blades become redundant when the symbiote can form bladed tendrils of any length, from any angle, hardened with the Yautja's own alien metallurgy, and coded into the symbiote's genetic memory. The biohelmet's vision modes, thermal, ultraviolet, electromagnetic, merge with the symbiote's own 360-degree surface-level sensory awareness. This creature doesn't have blind spots. It can sense movement, heat, and vibration across its entire body simultaneously. Nothing sneaks up on it. Nothing. And the self-destruct failsafe? The one final card every predator plays when a hunt goes wrong? Gone. The symbiote absorbs the wrist gauntlet's detonation mechanism into its biomass, even if the Yautja wanted to trigger it. And at this point, with the symbiote feeding its aggression loop, it doesn't want to. The symbiote simply wouldn't allow it. Survival is the symbiote's prime directive. The self-destruct is the first thing it neutralizes. Okay, so now you've got a picture of this thing. Invisible, nearly indestructible, armed with both organic and technological weapons it can deploy from anywhere on its body. Healing factor that makes Wolverine look slow. Centuries of hunting intelligence combined with the genetic memory of every host the symbiote has ever bonded with. And a rage that no longer answers to any code of honor. Because that's the other thing that breaks. The Yautja honor code, that entire framework of rules about who you can hunt, what's considered worthy prey, what makes a kill honorable, requires discipline. It requires the higher brain functions to override the predatory instinct. And the symbiote has been systematically enhancing that instinct since the moment it bonded. In real-world parasitology, this is exactly what we see. Toxoplasma gondii doesn't just live in the rat's brain. It specifically targets the amygdala, the fear center, and rewrites the rat's response to cat urine from terror to attraction. The rat doesn't know it's been compromised. It feels normal, it feels brave, and it walks straight into the jaws of the predator. The Yautja doesn't lose its mind, it just stops seeing limits. Every living thing becomes worthy prey, every hunt becomes a slaughter. So what happens when the other predators notice? Because they will. The Yautja are organized into clans, and clans police their own. When a predator goes rogue, what they call a bad blood, enforcer units are dispatched to eliminate the threat. It's happened before in the lore, but those enforcers have never faced anything like this. They arrive cloaked, armed, operating in coordinated pack tactics developed over millennia. And it doesn't matter. The Venom predator, let's call it what it is, the apex, can sense them through their cloaks because the symbiote detects biological signatures, not light refraction. It moves faster than any Yautja should be able to move. Its tendrils engage multiple targets simultaneously while the predator's own combat instincts handle close quarters. The Enforcer's weapons are the same technology the Apex already has integrated into its biomass. They can't surprise it, they can't outgun it, and they absolutely cannot outfight it. Now imagine it targets a Xenomorph hive. The classic predator rite of passage, young hunters proving themselves against the ultimate prey. Except Xenomorphs have one massive defensive advantage: their acidic blood. That molecular acid that eats through almost anything is the great equalizer against predator technology. Younger predators carry armor that isn't fully resistant to it. But here's the catch. Yautja blood, that green copper-based fluid, has been shown to partially neutralize xenomorph acid. And the symbiote's biomass is not rigid metal. It's an adaptive, regenerating organic material. Acid burns a hole through it. The symbiote simply grows new mass to fill the gap faster than the acid can spread. The xenomorph's greatest weapon becomes a minor inconvenience. And because the symbiote provides 360-degree awareness, the facehugger's ambush strategy, their entire reproductive cycle depends on surprise, is completely neutralized. This thing walks through a hive like a lawnmower through grass. But here's the scenario that should genuinely scare you. What if the Apex reaches Earth? It arrives cloaked in a stolen Yautja ship, landing in a populated area. The first day, no one knows it's there. Not military satellites, not thermal imaging, not anything. The symbiote's organic cloak has no technological signature to detect. The predator's biohelmet, now integrated into the symbiote, can scan radio frequencies, intercept communications, and analyze defense networks. It learns the terrain not by walking it, but by absorbing the planet's own information grid. By day 2, it hunts, but not like a traditional predator. There's no honor, no selection of worthy opponents. It kills efficiently, silently, and indiscriminately. The symbiote thrives on the chemical cocktail of fear and adrenaline produced by prey. Human cities are an all-you-can-eat buffet of both. Military response would be the obvious counter-move. Except the two things that traditionally stop a symbiote, fire and high-frequency sound, are things a Yautja's integrated tech can counter. The predator's atmospheric adaptation systems can insulate against extreme heat. The biohelmet's sensory filters can dampen sonic attacks before they reach the symbiote's threshold. And even if you somehow delivered enough concentrated fire or sound to weaken the symbiote, you'd still be left with a 7-foot, 300-pound Yautja warrior who has survived centuries of interstellar combat. Good luck, and the worst part? The part that makes this scenario truly hopeless. The symbiote records everything. Every host, every ability, every genetic code. It's all stored in the Clintar's genetic memory and transmitted across the hive mind. So even if you somehow manage to separate the symbiote from the Yautja, through some miracle of science, some weapon no one's invented yet, the damage is already done. The symbiote carries the Yautja's DNA, its combat instincts, its technological knowledge, permanently. The next host inherits all of it, and the host after that, and the one after that. You're not fighting one creature. You're fighting an evolving archive of the most dangerous traits in the galaxy, compounding with every new bond. There's a concept in biology called the Red Queen hypothesis. It comes from Lewis Carroll. You have to keep running just to stay in the same place. It describes an evolutionary arms race where predators and prey constantly adapt to each other just to maintain equilibrium. But the Venom predator breaks the Red Queen. There's no equilibrium. There's no counter-adaptation fast enough. Every generation of symbiote host is stronger, smarter, and more lethal than the last, carrying the accumulated arsenal of every species it's ever touched. The arms race isn't a race anymore, it's a countdown. So yeah, Venom bonding with a predator isn't just a cool crossover idea. It's the logical endpoint of what happens when an organism designed to enhance the strongest traits of its host meets the most biologically advanced hunter in the galaxy. It's a convergence that produces something with no natural predator, no exploitable weakness, and no ceiling for growth. The hunt doesn't just become unfair, the hunt becomes extinction. And honestly, the scariest part isn't what this creature would do. It's that in a universe as vast and chaotic as the one these characters live in, the probability that it hasn't already happened might be lower than you think. If this scenario kept you up at night, smash that subscribe button and drop a comment telling me which impossible fusion you want to see next. Because we're just getting started.